as it decides it's...
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3.
Well, hello and welcome to a very special My Whiskey Den. Very special because we have our special friends Drew and Kevin from the Bourbon Turntable joining us. You'll see the spider monkey slot is not taken tonight. Patrick is not going to be able to make it tonight. And then there's that other guy that we don't even talk about anymore because it just brings up bad memories and tears. But we are My Whiskey Den, and we are a proud member of the Bar Cart Co-op, along with our friends at Bourbon Turntable and Distillers Talk and the One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute. Also, if you want to get really funky and fun, another show it's on there, If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything, which is the spirit and paranormal side, not only of distilling, but just of life. Some really interesting stories. And if you are a fan of Halloween, there's some really good stuff coming up this month and some crossover shows. Anyway, it's a really great show with excuse me, phone ringing. It's my mother and I'm not answering it.
Oh. I thought it might have been the bat phone, you know.
She should know better than to call. But I know why she's calling. So anyway, we are talking about, because special night, it is John Prine Night, because today is John Prine's birthday. John Prine, American singer-songwriter that we unfortunately lost to COVID or COVID complications. But John has left his mark all across music and even outside of music. And even some people might have a dog named after him.
Yes, he was banished for the duration of the show. He was not behaving last night. But yes, big fan of him.
Yeah, I don't remember if this was during the taped portion of the show or the untaped portion of the show, but at one point you see Drew walking across the screen carrying a dog.
Yeah, he was losing his ever-loving mind last night while we were trying to wrap up the show. So,
well, and in fairness, we did go a little long last night.
Happens.
So, yeah.
So if you had to call him a John Prine song, what would you have called him last night?
There's things that I probably shouldn't repeat for this kind of a show, at least not until we've had a drink or two. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to come up with one that's going to do it justice.
Long Monday, maybe.
Long Monday works.
Okay,
that's a great one.
Yeah,
that's a great one.
That's every Monday. So I want to go around and we'll do a little kind of little dip in the Bourbon Turntable water here, and we'll go around the clock and talk about what was your introduction to John Prine. So we'll start with you, Drew.
Yeah, so my introduction to him really was through other artists that he had influenced. So I mean, it's a little before my time, but came across some interviews with Jason Isbell talking about the influence of this guy John Prine. This is probably 6-7 years back. And then come to find out, my grandparents had this guy's records sitting around, and just kind of began the love affair of listening to his music all over. But it was definitely through the people that he influenced. Many of the artists that I respect and listen to all, name John as somebody who is very valuable to them in their songwriting careers. So it's my inroad.
Mr. Rose, how about you?
He just kind of always was. I mean, I don't remember knowing him. I don't remember not knowing him. He's just one of those guys that he was there, and you just he was part of the fabric of music in a lot of ways. So it wasn't one of those instances where somebody says, "Hey, you need to listen to this." And that's, oh wow, that's awesome. It's just kind of he's there. He's part of American music.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a cop-out answer?
No, that's a good answer. Yeah. So I heard his songs because I heard other people sing his songs, specifically Angel from Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first introduction to him. He wasn't on in my house growing up. My folks mostly listened to oldies, and my dad was also into disco, specifically Donna Summer and Patrick Hernandez.
That's fantastic.
I got no issue with it. I mean, and Cheryl Ladd's album got heavy play.
Cheryl Ladd's album.
Great album cover, by the way. And Patrick Hernandez, if I hear Born to Be Alive, it's like, that's a really good song. But when I was like 21, 22 when Missing Years came out, and that we finally had a really good radio station in Des Moines. We had the standard ones that beat every song into the ground, and maybe not like bands like Led Zeppelin, because they only played 3 songs from Led Zeppelin all the time, and it was the same rotation. But we got the station that played everything, and they would play every kind of music behind other kinds of music. You would hear, you might hear John Prine, and then right after it, you'd hear Miles Davis, and then you'd hear Buddy Guy, and you might hear the Doors, and then you might, then you might hear Spyro Gyra, or something like that. It was all over the board, but they started hitting Missing Years, and then that really opened it up more to go back and listen to a lot of his stuff. And at least for me at the time, listening to it, it was fun. It's like, okay, this is really good, folk music, but then also some of the songs that were just funny. I mean, they're just they're funny, but then as I got older, like, oh, that's smart. So anyway, that was my introduction.
Yeah, the humor in his music is in the storytelling. I mean, the characters and the things that they do, and the little way he turns a phrase.
Yes. I was re-listening this last week. I had not listened to it in a long time, and I don't know why, but it was one of my favorite songs. Let's Talk Dirty in Hawaiian. And if anyone hasn't heard that song, you have to listen to that song. But I was listening to it again, and then as I'm listening to it, I thought, you know what? Suck it, Jimmy Buffett. This is a good party sing-along song for beach and everything else, without the boomer douchebaggery that goes along with it, with your typical Jimmy Buffett, because I have opinions. But
and they're not wrong. They are not wrong at all.
Yeah. But it's just, listen, it's like, it is so funny and so smart, and also taking away the humor from it, you're like, yeah, I get the song 100%.
Yeah, that's a good one. You talk about his humor, you think everybody knows In Spite of Ourselves, and the cheeky little duet, and the all the little fun things, but he's got so many good ones. The hobo song, which is kind of funny, kind of serious. He just had such a way of turning a phrase that was always so good.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned In Spite of Ourselves, and the thing is, when you're in a long relationship with somebody, it becomes more true. and that one, still listen. I mean, I was married, we were, just short of 25 years, and I'm I can listen to the song now and go, yep, that one too. Yep. that part too. It's just so, a couple so comfortable. Look, this is who we are. There's no surprise, no shocking information here, but yeah, it was great.
Pretty special stuff.
Yeah. So I want to add, well, first off, we've started on our cocktails for everyone who is watching in. I have started, I'll put the official Handsome Johnny recipe, the blow up there. So I did I'm going to make 2 of them. I started off with the one with lime, because we are in, we're not in summer, we're not in winter. So I went with the fall one first. So I've done the first one, and I'll mix up the one with lemon here in a little bit. But Drew, which one do you have?
Yeah, so I've got the lemon, and I did just some standard ginger ale. I unfortunately was out of vodka and didn't feel like making an extra trip to the store for another bottle, so I just subbed in some Early Times Bottled and Bond for my vodka tonight.
That's
Well,
that's fair.
I didn't have another 20 minutes and $30 to go buy vodka today. Just wasn't
Yeah.
going to happen.
So
stand-
Kevin,
stand
what
outside.
about you?
Drew's going to stand outside on the street with a sign. We'll work for vodka or something.
No. Oh, gosh. Take me off of all the shows if we ever get to that point.
No, I did the lime, and I actually did. I thought for a minute I didn't have any vodka. I thought, well, I could sub in tequila, and then I found a bottle of Wheatley vodka.
All right.
You know, for a little craft distillery over in Frankfort, Kentucky. So I used that and Canada Dry ginger ale and a lime. So.
And Kevin also did a Kobe Bryant, jump shot to drop his in, which pre-show. So you guys missed out on all that.
Yeah, we may see it again later. Who knows?
Yeah,
I got a lot of vodka.
Well,
Drew, if
I
you
do
need to borrow vodka, Drew. Just
Yeah.
you could have.
I think I'll be all right.
Drizzly, they could have brought you vodka.
That's true.
That's true.
This is a bourbon kind of Monday. It was not a vodka kind of Monday.
Because Kevin's showing that, I do want to say coming up, we do have next week, we are doing our Bourbon on the Banks recap show. Because at Bourbon on the Banks, overheard at Bourbon on the Banks, this is not anything against Bourbon on the Banks, but someone came away from from trying the Wheatley vodka, and they were told by, I don't know if it's someone next to the booth or someone in the booth, that this was made with the same wheat that makes Pappy.
Outstanding.
Like, okay.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, I had a story about interactions with a brand rep too, but again, like we said last week, there are people that you still might want to get on your show. So we'll just leave it at that.
This is true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or not. It just depends.
Yeah, I might miss that one if you do, but okay.
Well,
just gloss over that.
Yeah, not to sidetrack the conversation about John Prine, but is there any distillery, as far as a major one, more steeped in BS than Buffalo Trace? The poor man's Pappy and the single warehouse for all Blantons that's smaller than my living room, and all that kind of stuff. I think you'd
best
be hard
marketing in the
pressed to
business.
find. Yeah.
There's a daily competition amongst several distilleries for that title of King of the BS.
Yeah. It's hard to know what's invited by the brand and what is just the bourbon bros are crazy. There's probably about half and half if I had to guess.
Right. Well, if you say something outlandish about a brand, like, Wheatley vodka is allocated, there's enough dummies out there that'll believe it, and it's going to get enough traction because it's a Buffalo Trace product that you'll get likes and retweets and shares and reels and whatever else the kids are doing these days.
It's true. Very true.
I think we should start it just to see what happens. And then we could track it.
Okay. Yep.
But think about it.
Shannon
if it
mentioned
wasn't
it in the chat, so
if it
we're off
wasn't
and
for
running.
Wheatley vodka, there would be a lot of store owners that would not get their bottle of Van Winkle, since they're being forced to buy Wheatley
Fireball.
vodka in order to get
Right.
Fireball in order to get their stuff.
Yeah, you buy 50,000 cases of Wheatley vodka and you get half a case of Blanton's. That's good. That's a good trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's sad, and they get to vote. That's the other sad thing.
And procreate.
Yeah. Hey, at least we get to enjoy ourselves. So I'm almost done with mine. I'm getting really close here.
Well, you started early.
I just topped her off, so I'm good to go for a minute.
I did. I'm going to go a little bit longer before I go through there. So, all right. So I want to ask, well, John Prine was not known as a big whiskey person. May or may not have dabbled in illegal substances in some point in his life and career. May or may not have written about it. But I'm curious, what would be your John Prine drinking song? We'll start with that one. What's your John Prine drinking song?
Happy drinking or sad drinking?
We'll go both.
Okay. So, I mean, as far as I know, this isn't the subject matter, but it's hard to be illegal smile for happy drinking when it comes to John Prine songs, because everyone's just gonna, do your little sea shanty sway. And I think for sad drinking, it's gonna be Souvenirs for me. That one all just gets me in the heart, and have to have a good cry over that one.
What about you, Kevin?
I over the last week or so, since we've had this coming up, I've been listening to a lot more John Prine, and the album that I keep coming back to is Tree of Forgiveness. And I can tell you by recent experience, that album is a very, very good deck pour drinking album. One, it's not that long, so you can kind of gauge a pour, by the length of the album. And once you get to the end of the album, then you're ready for another. And you just start it all over again. And you have a great mix of songs that are funny, sad, serious. It runs the whole spectrum of John Prine.
Yeah,
it's a great record.
Wow, it is.
It's number one or two for me.
Kevin was telling me he's listening to it this week, and in a comment I said, "Can you imagine bookending your career with John Prine and Tree of Forgiveness? How many people would kill that? I mean, just anyway, it's fantastic, and I hope everybody who is watching and people that are in the chat are familiar enough and have given it the time. But Tree of Forgiveness, I mean, just the whole idea when he went to go make it, it's like, the only way I'm gonna get this done is to lock myself in a hotel room with some notepads. So he locks himself in a hotel room with some notepads, and he comes out with this.
Right.
And I'm sure there's some more songs that didn't make the cut for the album, and that's him after not recording an album in so long. And I'm sure a lot of people, aside from the people that would go and see him in concert on a regular basis, when he come around, probably written off by a lot of people, just because of his age and stuff. And that album is just it's freaking phenomenal, and has one of the songs that I'm going to have played at my funeral. So I hope anyway. So, but yeah, Drew, you took mine for Happy Song, Illegal Smile, because, for many reasons, I love the song, and then it does the tempo change when it gets to it. And it's just, it's like, okay, everybody, come on, let's do this and sing along. Yeah, it's great. But then the one song that the sad song, the one that didn't make it to an album, and it might be my favorite song of his at this point, was the one they released and said, this is the last song he recorded. And it was I Remember Everything.
Yeah.
And that song that came out after he died, so many of the words on it hit way close to home on it, and it's just an absolutely beautiful song, and with that old scratchy voice too. It makes it even better. So
that's a beautiful song. And if you haven't had a chance to go visit the Country Music Hall of Fame in Nashville, there is a permanent exhibit there with the original notebook with that song signed by John Prine, and some sheet music that Brandy Carlisle had written out for him to it. And it's just a beautiful tribute. That song's amazing. Love that one that you brought that up, Mike.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites also. I don't know. Oh, it feels like a lot of the songs that I like of his are at that tail end of his career. Not that I don't like the other stuff, but the ones that I think kind of mean the most and kind of hit those notes of resonance with me are the later songs.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Now, why do you think that is?
I don't know. I'm old. I mean, I'm not John Prine old, but no, I don't. I don't know. I think that it's he's kind of laying out all of the things. To me, it sounds like he's laying out all of the things from his career, from his life, and because he knows these are the last things that I'm going to be able to say to people, and that carries some weight.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have gotten to hear any of the interviews that he gave talking about the song on that last record, Summer's End, but there's so much of that. Hey, we're all family. It's all right. Whatever has happened in the past. It uses almost the same imagery as like the parable of the prodigal son from the Bible. Very, very similar. That kind of always gets evoked to me whenever I hear that one. But it sounds like a dad saying to his family, "Hey, it's all right. Come on back. Let's call it a day." That kind of thing. I love that tune. Yeah.
Okay, and this isn't me just saying this because I love John Prine or because I'm not saying I like John Prine more than the Bible, but as a telling of a broad sense of tale of the prodigal son, John Prine did it better than the Bible, because I hate that reading. The way it's written, the way it's done, I hate it. It's just it's not cool. But the way John Prine did it, it's like, okay, I can learn something from this instead of wanting to smack a guy.
Absolutely.
Well, we could have Sunday school here if you want to, but I don't. Are we eating hot dogs tonight or not? I was told there'd be hot dogs. Is that?
I've got a hot dog. I'll do it when I'm not talking clearly. Just like I did mix up mine with lemon, so I'm going to do a side by side as we're doing this.
Outstanding. I always forget that you guys have this YouTube show primarily where it's visual, and ours is typically audio. So I'm sitting here like, what are we? Everybody's eating and drinking on camera.
We don't care. I mean, we've done enough to alienate people on our show. So if they've stuck with us this long, we're good.
Absolutely. I was just goofing around, but yeah.
Yeah. I have to say, side by side, I like it with lime more than lemon.
I'm going to have to go back to the kitchen here in a few minutes when I finish this one.
Yeah. Might have to make another one with lime. Very interesting. Okay, so trying to think of my other. I'll ask this question: Is there a version of a John Prine song that you like that somebody else did? That, or one that he wrote that, I mean, obviously he's not as good of a singer as Bonnie Raitt, for Angel Montgomery, or and Susan Tedeschi probably did it better than Bonnie Raitt, I think. But as far as one of his that he did that somebody else took over, do you have one of those?
Yeah, I have two. One would be the John Paul White recording of Sam Stone. There's something about the way that he plays the guitar on that just really is special. Both those guys had ties to Muscle Shoals and all that kind of stuff. The other one is I Guess They Ought to Name and Drink After You, the one that Tyler Childers recorded. And he played that around at shows for probably the last 5 or 6 years. And in some ways, it's kind of become a Tyler Childers song, just in terms of popular understanding of the song. Just a lot of people don't know that he didn't write that, but I like his version just for listening a little bit better than Prine's maybe. But it's tough.
Yeah.
Drew Crowley does a pretty mean version of Paradise.
We try.
What is that your answer, Kevin?
I think that may be my answer. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that answer, but
Okay.
it is tough. It is tough to get. And I love Susan Tedeschi as much as anybody, but the Bonnie Raitt Angel from Montgomery that's a dead heat as far as I'm concerned.
That's your pick.
It's pretty good, but you know what throws it? I think what throws it over for me with Susan is because she throws in sugary in there in the middle of it, and that the way she goes into that, it's like this fits like really well. The way it goes in there and it comes back. Nothing against Bonnie Raitt, who I think is fantastic, but I from the first time I heard Susan sing that and did that, I've been hooked, and I love hearing that. Her singing that live is phenomenal. I did, which I'm curious if you guys, because John didn't sing a lot of other people's songs. I mean, I know he did some duets and stuff like that, but I heard this is a few weeks ago. I heard him sing I Just Called to Say I Love You.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. And it's older John doing, obviously doing it. I started, it's like, what? And then the more I listened to it, it was what it reminded me of is the later albums with Johnny Cash. And, when he was singing First Time Ever I Saw Your Face, because just the way he did it with his voice, and he was singing it to June 100%.
Yeah.
And that with John singing it, it's like he's singing it to somebody. He's not just singing that song. He's singing it to somebody. Right. I would assume Fiona, but I'm not going to assume anything. But it was still that one that really threw me through a loop, because it just came up just on the normal thing. And I was like, what in the hell? It was just really
I'm going to have to go look that up after this. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. It was pretty good.
Let me ask you this. I know we're all fans of John Prine, but there are, I would say, not entirely unfair comparisons to Bob Dylan, where it's like great songwriting, but it gets better when other people sing it. Do you guys feel that way about John Prine at all? Or do you think there's something unique about his artistry and his own interpretation of the songs that make them better than maybe somebody else's covers? Does that make sense in how I asked that? I'm not sure if I was clear or not, but
no, it does. I think because of him, well, I mean, I don't know if Dylan's a fair comparison. I mean, Dylan can write a song. You don't know what Bob Dylan's going to show up at the concert, but he can write a song. But like, Neil Young can write a song, but but it sounds like two cats being squished sometimes when he's singing. And but that's just Neil Young. John Prine has, because the songs that he has done, he has it's the way he puts the breaks in the verses, and it's the way he puts the inflection on there that makes it's his delivery. Like there's like some comics, they can say something, it might not be necessarily funny, but it's the delivery and how they did it. And that, I think that's different between first time I heard John sing Angel from Montgomery versus, hearing Bonnie sing it. And it was just like, what's this dude singing it? But it works actually with him doing it and how he's just telling the story of this person, but it works, and he doesn't have a perfect voice, but it works.
Yep. Yeah. I think the performance is so striking when Bonnie Raitt does it. The songwriting is so striking when John does it. Does that make sense? There's something very unique and attention grabbing about either one. Yeah.
That makes total sense.
What did you say, Kevin?
No, the easy complaint about Dylan is, I hate his voice. I can't stand his voice. And if I were wanting somebody to sing me to sleep at night, that probably would not be the voice that I would choose. But his voice and Prine's as well is the vehicle to deliver their songs. And if somebody else is going to take that and not just say, okay, well, here's a song and it's in 4/4 time, and here are the measures, and here's the melody, and then they just sing it, reading it off of a sheet of music. It's not, however fantastic your voice may be, it's not going to capture the song in the same way. Now, there have been some outstanding covers of both Dylan and Prine, but it's the ones that really stand out are the ones where it's more like, okay, they get it, they get what the song's about, they get what the significance of the lyrics are, and they deliver it in a way that carries that through, but maybe in a slightly different method.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
That's a good question. So one of the other things I was going to ask you guys about were some of it, because aside from John's honesty, and how he wrote, whether it was a true story or not, but the way that he would paint pictures on with what he wrote. And the first one, I'd heard the old tale, and I think it was attributed to Hemingway, but I think it's also a bunch of BS. That it was like it was a bet. Can you write a story using 6 words? And the story was for sale, baby shoes never worn. And so that was first. But when I heard Sam Stone the first time, and you hear there's a hole in Daddy's arm where the money goes, and it's like, good Lord. I mean, it just that's an entire novel in a song, or in one part of a song. But some of the other ones and I ended up going back because I knew I would forget a lot of them, but some of the ones, what was the one from, I gotta pull up from, the sins of Mephisto. And it just said, Sally used to play with her hula hoops. Now she tells her problems to therapy groups. Grandpa's on the front lawn staring at a rake, wondering if his marriage was a terrible mistake. And it's just, and I was, as I was re-listening to some of those, some of the songs, I said that it's like, I had just this picture of like a Wes Anderson movie of this old man looking in despair at his rake. And you just see all of this stuff come across his face. I was like, good God.
Right.
That's
because we've all been there, not wondering if marriage was a mistake. Certainly not. But looking, just whether it's staring at the TV or, looking at a tree or staring out into space or looking at whatever, where we've got a million things on our mind and we're not really looking at what we're looking at. And that line connects in one brief phrase. It connects with everybody, and that's a gift.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, Drew?
Just in terms of what?
Oh, just like any line or lines that he's done. It's come up. And
Gosh. Yeah. I mean, the first one that got me was the opening for Angel from Montgomery. Just because it's like, you're not an old woman named after your mother. Your name's John, and you're, crotchety old man. What are you talking about? I never, didn't get that. But I think some of the lyrics, like Christmas in Prison, where it's like, oh, I know exactly, like I could see it. It's like the way he describes it is very cinematic. Trying to think of another one. What's it called? I'm blanking on a lot. You'll have to come back to me on that. Let me go back to my notes here.
Go ahead. I'll go through some of the ones that were as I was going back, because I was thinking of songs, and some of it was kind of fun because I knew the song and I knew there was stuff in it, but then going back and then like really go, like a 13-year-old girl writing down lyrics in a notebook. I was writing down some of these things and Mike plus Kevin, Kevin plus Mike, and stuff like that. But but America, the song, Lake Marie, because it's you think it's a joyous song, but it's not. But one of the I didn't really pay attention to this before, and then when I was going back and looking at the lyrics, because he said that the wind was blowing especially through her hair. There was 4 Italian sausage cooking on the outdoor grill, and they were sizzling. And also the way he says that, it really comes across like Warren Zevon, which I really thought was, I don't think it's intentional, but I just thought it was really cool because it just came across like, I'm going to throw this extra thing in there and put a little extra visual on you. But then, he's talking like with relationships. It says, many years later, we found ourselves in Canada trying to save our marriage and perhaps catch a few fish. Whatever came first. And it's, it's funny, and it's funny and it's sad. And it's also like, well, I guess that's where you're at, We'll take whichever one we can get at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'll grab one of the other ones. Aside from, aside from, Jesus, the missing years. Jesus was a good guy and he didn't need this shit, which we can all identify with that. But when he was talking about the, let's see, where is it? I got to go through my notes. There's still so many things that you can pull up on here. Or if you want to piss people off, your flag decal won't get you in heaven anymore.
Yes.
I love that song.
I do too, and it's still true.
To go play that at my mom and dad's church in Oklahoma. Just use that for pre-service music. One of these things.
It's still 100% true.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll pull this up. I got to pull up the other ones that I saved off on here.
Yeah,
I had too many clips.
So I looked up a couple, unless Kevin, you wanted to jump in.
No, with Boundless Love, the first verse is, I woke up this morning to a garbage truck. Okay. So we've all had, again, that's what that's like, right? And it looks like this old horseshoe's done run out of luck. If I came home, would you let me in, fry me some pork chops, and forgive my sin? It's got that hominess to it. It's got that seeking redemption to it, and it's got the, I can't catch a break because I can't even get some sleep because of this garbage truck outside my room. I just love the way he paints a picture.
Yeah. Well, and he's got that in Lake Marie too, where he's got the line about the kid. The kid's laying under the bridge waiting for the train to pass and blow the whistle just so he can actually dream. I was like, what in the hell's going on in this kid's head that he needs to have a train whistle blow and wake him up just so he can have a dream? I saved some other stuff from Jesus, the Missing Years, which again, I think it's, I think if you don't have a sense of humor, you definitely should listen to the song. If you can't look at things in context on it, but the song about, what was between the years of whatever it was, 11 and 30 in Jesus's life that was not in writing. And so he made some of the stuff up, but at the same time, some of the stuff that John said was very true. And he said, he woke up, he was 17 and the world was angry and the world was mean. The man down on the street and the kid on the stoop all agreed that life stank. The world smelled like poop. Baby poop, that is. The worst kind.
So clever.
Yeah. Then he goes on. Yeah, it goes on to say that they're gonna kill me, Mama. They don't like me, Bud. So he went to heaven and went there awful quick, and all them people killed him, and he wasn't even sick.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going with my second cocktail here.
Yep.
So I'm gonna do that too.
I'm in the same boat. Yeah.
I'll see if I can Kobe this one as well.
Yeah.
I want to make another lime one.
There you go. Another one I love just for the imagery is the opening lyrics to Souvenirs. I know I said that's my favorite sad one, but it's all the snow is turned to water, Christmas Day is come and gone, broken toys and faded colors are all that's left to linger on. And if you're like me and maybe more melancholy oriented, the couple of hours after all the Christmas stuff, or maybe the day after all the extended family leaves, is like the saddest, worst day of the year.
Yeah.
That just opening lines always evoke that for me. I'm like, I'm in the living room at the family, the house at grandma's or whatever.
Yeah.
I know that visual. Yeah.
Yep. No, that I agree with that. That's a good one.
Kobe.
Boom.
Whoa.
Nailed it right there.
Curry.
Did you see it splash? Did you see the splash?
Nothing but rim.
Didn't.
Nothing but rim. Brick.
That would have been funny if you actually would have done that.
You know, I don't like vodka, but that's not bad.
Yeah, I'm not a vodka person.
But I'll tell you what, I'm going to try it with tequila too. How is it with the bourbon, Drew?
Doesn't suck.
Yeah.
It's all about the ratios when it comes to that, but yeah, it's hard to beat, bourbon and ginger for me.
Yeah. Might have to give that a try. Maybe some mezcal too. That might be kind of fun.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yep. What about? And I just got a few songs here that I'd written down that I wanted to make sure we got mentioned. Spanish Pipe Dream.
Huh. Mm-hmm. Is that the blow up your TV?
Yep.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
Love that one.
Gotta love a song about a hooker.
Suppose that's one way of saying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one. There's a version of that that's floated around on YouTube, and it's John and one of his sons singing that with Willie Nelson and Lucas Nelson at one of the Nelson family 4th of July picnics. It's pretty fun. Check that one out if you can find it anywhere.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up. That sounds fun. And I'll admit, I have not listened to his boys.
Okay.
At least I haven't made an
either.
effort to listen to his boys.
Yeah. So I will just plug it now, but this coming Friday, his younger son, Tommy, has a record coming out, but it was produced by Rustin Kelly, who is one of my absolute favorite songwriters, period. So the single's great. Some of the stuff that I've seen on TikTok and on the subreddits are great, but I can't wait to listen to that full record. Could be good.
Yeah. I'm curious to try that. I don't know. It's kind of lyric. It took me a while to listen to Lucas Nelson too. And then I realized that I'd already heard him and just hadn't paid attention to who it was. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Because that can go bad.
Another one I want to throw out, and I mentioned it when we were talking about Drew's dog, Long Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And that it says it's going to be a long Monday sitting all alone on a mountain by a river that has no end. It's going to be a long Monday stuck like the tick of a clock that's come and wound again and again. Stuck like the tick of a clock. I mean, again, it's just a beautiful image that just, okay, I get it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unreal.
I think you can even if it's John Prine's music itself is not necessarily your cup of tea, I think it'd be really hard to argue against the fact that it's really good whiskey drinking music for a lot of moods.
Yeah. Sure.
And you just throw it on a mix and see what you get, because you can get upbeat, you can get sad, you can get, what do I say, revolutionary, and sometimes controversial and funny, all from the same person.
Yep. So one of my favorite things to do when I get an occasional evening alone, I don't do it every time I'm alone, but every once in a while, maybe twice a year, I've got this big 8 vinyl record of a live recordings, and it's all the live recordings that he did. I like to put them on and I usually start with a full bottle and end with a very close to empty one, but just play the whole thing, throw on side A of record 1 when I get home and start dinner, and then, flip it over. And as I move throughout the night, just kind of make my way through all that. And you're absolutely right. You hit the whole gamut of human experience and emotion if you listen long enough with John Prine.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you will touch. You listen to enough John Prine, and you'll hit every emotion that you've got.
Mm-hmm.
And again, and that's one of the reasons I really love Tree of Forgiveness, because I think it, in very short order, it hits all of those spots.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree. Yeah, Tree. Yeah, I think that album alone was one. It was amazing just because it came out of nowhere, but every single song that's on it, there's not one that's just like I could go without ever hearing this again. They're just every single song that's on there. It just and some of it, you get the old man voice on there where he's laying down some wisdom on some of this stuff, but still when he throws, I think I don't know, I'd say my least favorite, and it doesn't mean I don't like it, but the whole album is God Only Knows, and it's still a great song.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when I get to heaven is a song I want to have played at my funeral. So I did want to, and maybe I'll still do it. I wanted to have All the Best played at my funeral. I know it's a breakup song, but I think it would almost be like you're still breaking up, but it's just totally taking the high road. It's like, hey, I'm done. Sorry, this didn't work out. I wish you all the best.
That's clever. I like that.
Yeah. I've got a series of songs that are to be played or performed at mine. So
how many of them are Rush songs?
None, actually. None.
Yeah. Put Me in the Ground too. What was it, La Via Strangata? or what?
No, actually, no Rush tunes. I can fix that, I guess. I can add to it. I mean, this is going to be a very musical, very long service, but I did. Okay.
It's going to be a Taylor Hawkins level event.
Yes. Wolfgang Van Halen's going to come in and play, the living members of Queen and Rush, Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson are going to play with, various other drummers sitting in. So it'll be great.
And what will that be streaming from? Is that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Okay.
He's got an exclusive deal with Quibi.
Streaming. You'd better be here. Okay.
And AOL.com.
Because you better be here because it's going to be a whiskey palooza afterwards.
There we go.
Cindy actually, this should make me nervous, I guess, but Cindy actually asked me the other day, if you were to die, what am I supposed to do with all your bourbon? I'm like, well, okay. Funny you should ask. So but I said, our sons, they can come in, pick whatever they want, and then you have a gigantic party with anybody that'll come and drink, and then at the end of it, whatever's left, people can take what they want, and then give it to charity. I don't know, Special Olympics or Compassion International. Send it over to the little kids in Africa or India. And have you ever had Maker's Mark? don't send them Dickel though, because they've struggled enough in life.
See, that's just
Oh,
I should have known you'd throw something in there.
Good.
All
Well,
right.
I don't want to take any thunder away from your future questions or topics there, Mike, but we've talked about his craft as a songwriter. What about his influence on other songwriters? I mean,
Yeah,
how many flipping people?
Yeah,
do we all
that was
know?
one of the questions that I was going to ask, is because not okay. So not only with him with the Oh Boy records and him
Mhm.
bringing up singer songwriters of all of different, they weren't all country or Americana, which I hate that title, but
Right.
not everybody was that, but they were all people who were someone had rich in songwriting, not just a singer songwriter, but rich in songwriting, being able to perform. But when you got people like Brandy Carlisle and Jason Isbell, and they're just like, yeah, John Prine's my influence, or even have Bob Dylan say that too. Whether I know people don't like Bob Dylan, and that's fine if they don't like Bob Dylan, but to have some people like Bob Dylan and who is the other one that was real complimentary to him, Roger Waters, who I don't like, but
Yeah.
I like that Roger Waters complimented him as far as his songwriting. But yeah, these young people, like well, I say young, but I mean it's a lot of them have been at it for a while, but especially Jason Isbell. I mean, he's no slouch.
Yeah.
He's kind of good.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, they were very close, I believe, towards the end of John's life. They said that their daughter called him Uncle John, that kind of a thing, and how much respect and love Jason and his wife Amanda had for John Prine. It's such a cool thing to see.
Yeah.
But there's so many others. You mentioned Brandy Carlisle and Jason Isbell. The folks that are on his Oh Boy label, of course, you can tell his influence all over them. You pull up
Right.
any track on any of the records that have come out on Oh Boy, and you're like, oh, this is a John Prine influenced record. But Jim James from My Morning Jacket talks a lot about John Prine. Sturgill Simpson is another one that talks a lot about him. Nathaniel Rateliff. All of these bands that are in the Americana and folk kind of side of things, or indie rockers, they all have this tremendous level of reverence for the songwriting craft. And that's kind of the thing that they all hold in common.
I think your boy, John Mayer, he's a Prine guy.
He's a fan. Yep.
Yeah.
Look, if you're a songwriter that's really a songwriter, I don't mean, hey, I'm going to lay down 10 songs and throw them out there and see what sticks. But if you're really crafting songs, I don't see how you can't be a fan of John Prine or Dylan, and because if you don't like them, you don't like songs.
True.
Yeah.
True. But you should also for some of them, and I'll throw Neil Young in there for a reason, is if you're like, I don't like his voice, and Dylan, don't like Dylan, and Neil Young, I would get why you wouldn't like his voice. Just read the songs. Just read them, because you'll find it's written far better than a lot of other things that you'll find. And also more clever than a lot of people would give it credit for. I mean, I think I wouldn't necessarily compare Dylan and John Prine, because I think Dylan can get a little inside his own head on some things, versus John Prine's more straightforward, and I think Neil Young's kind of in between anyway. But there was just a certain like with John anyway, it's just a certain style that to me more was honesty. And especially as he got, it starts off, he's tired of his job. He'd already been in the army, and he's trying to do this singer-songwriter gig. I read once that, right. Yeah. Roger Ebert was one that gave him a positive review, which actually made him continue, which which if that's true, I think that's really cool. But, you know, he's writing songs. He goes through a couple of marriages during this time, and clearly they've influenced the albums that came out during that time. And then he falls in love again with the woman that he spends, you know, a lot of his life with. And that's very, very apparent in a lot of the songwriting. But I mean, there's just a maturity, you know, with him doing that. And then with the album, like you're talking with the influence with other artists, with him, with his record label, was like passing the torch with a lot of it. Just like, all right, we're going to make this thing sustainable so we can get these other people on. And Drew and I were talking briefly before the show. One of the artists that I really like that just happens to be on Oh Boy Records is Dan Reeder, who I say just look him up, look at it, listen to the first album first, and then move your way through. But Dan Reeder he was a fan. He's an American, moved over to Germany. He's an art student, you know, married a German woman, wanted to just had these songs in his head. But you know, you got to play guitar. Well, he didn't have a guitar, so he built a guitar. He didn't have all the recording equipment. He built the recording equipment. He didn't. Yeah, so he built a lot of the stuff that he used, and he did his own harmonies and everything else. He sent a cassette tape to John Prine. He's just like, hey, you're a big influence. I just did this because I felt like I needed to do it. You know, I hope you get a chance to listen to it. By some strange thing, John put the cassette tape in and was just like, you're not re-recording this. We're putting this exactly out the way that it is on the cassette tape. And it is so raw in many ways. But it also, it's like an homage to John Prine's influence. Like, look, I'm doing my own thing. This is, it's funny, it's clever, etc. Anyway, I could go on and on about it, but I'm also 4 of these in, so I'm going to go ahead.
4,
almost 4.
Wow.
I'll have to catch up.
I have both lime and lemon in this last one, so because
wow.
I have to end up somewhere.
It's like a Sprite.
How did you like the combination compared to the individual?
I like it better than the lemon. I have to say that. Okay. I like the lime definitely the best. That recipe. Okay.
Lemon combo than lime for you?
Yeah. Or lime combo lemon. But yeah.
Okay. In descending order. Got it. Got it.
And for hot dogs, if we're doing tasting notes, I'm doing the official Costco big boy hot dog.
Oh, okay. Now, okay, if we're going to get into the details of the hot dog, don't sleep on the brioche hot dog buns at Aldi. Pro tip right there. Fantastic.
Good to know.
Fantastic.
We did not communicate before the show, and that's exactly what I'm having too. Aldi brioche buns are, as they say, the shit.
Yep.
Okay.
As are their croissant buns.
Yes.
Y'all are gonna have to make me go to Aldi. I never go all the way over there, but
we could do a whole show on Aldi.
Yeah. We could do the Aldi show.
Pairing Aldi things and whiskey.
Do they play music in Aldi's? I'm wondering.
They do not.
They don't. I don't think they do. They're too cheap to play music in Aldi.
Yeah.
Probably so.
It would probably be, I don't know. I feel like it would be German if they did. Maybe not Rammstein, but something, still something electronic and German.
The Funk Hunters. I don't think that's German.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, we're not even good. Yeah. See, and I didn't even bring it up. You're the one that brought it up.
I did bring it up, and we'll continue to bring it up
forever.
Well,
yeah. So, all right. So, I want to ask you guys about this is as far as my whiskey den is concerned. This is an odd show just because we're talking about music most of the time, but why not? It's John Prine's birthday, and we have our great guests on from Bourbon Turntable, which I do want to make sure to mention. Bourbon Turntable, which comes out every Wednesday on Spotify, Apple Music, Google, YouTube, Facebook. Am I missing anything else?
Instagram. We're on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's very, very good guests. Really good interviews. Structured to talk about whiskey and also talking about music. There's been a lot of people that we've had crossover, but some very interesting guests that they've had on in the past. But you guys have upcoming. Because I don't want to lose that. Who do you guys have upcoming?
Who do we not have upcoming, man?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
crazy.
We recorded last night. Alan was on as a guest host, which
Alan?
Bishop?
No,
which Alan Bishop? Well,
we saw Dusty Rhodes and Alan Bishop last night at various points.
Wow.
Yeah, he showed up and he had, I don't know, some sort of cat ear fuzzy thing on his head that was, I don't know, part of his daughter's Halloween costume. I don't know, but he showed up like that, and he had the Dusty Rhodes jacket on, and I just sat there looking at him disapprovingly, and he finally took the whatever it was off his head. But we recorded a couple of shows. Actually, we recorded 3 shows with 2 guests last night, and we had Nancy Fraley on, and we did some tastings with her, and she kind of talked us through how she approaches a tasting. And then we talked with her a lot about music.
Mm-hmm.
She shared with us some photos of her guitar collection, her bass guitar collection.
Yeah.
And then we talked some about Leonard Skinner, whom she is a great fan of. And so that'll be a 2-parter. And then we also talked with Eric Wolf from Stolen Wolf. And my goodness, he had some fantastic stories about Dick Stoll. And you can really tell in the passion in his voice when he's talking about that man, how much he loved him, how much he meant to him. And so, that's a fun show too. And then after that, Drew, we've got some pretty good guests too, right?
We're going to have our mutual friend Brian Cushing from Victorian Barroom on, David Jennings from Rare Bird 101, Lucky 7 Spirits is going to be coming on, Dancing Goat Distillery folks. I'm not sure who we have from there, but we're going to have somebody from their team.
Fred Swanson.
Fred will be there from Dancing Goat.
Great friend of my whiskey den. So.
Yes.
And then we'll have Sweet Lady, and then the Cold Stairs, both as musical guests. So we're going to have a lot of cool shows coming up, and then some more maybe in the works that we're going to get to you soon.
Yeah.
That's cool. I was watching the Sweet Lady videos.
Yep.
That Bourbon Turntable is posting on Instagram, and I love the attire that he wears. But he's dancing, and I'm like, who does he remind me of? And then it hit me as I'm, 2 glasses in at a fire pit. But that's usually when clarity kicks in.
Yes.
He dances like Dan Aykroyd.
Well, he's kind of built like Dan Aykroyd, to be honest.
And again, that's not a knock at all, but it was just like that's Dan Aykroyd up there dancing.
Yes,
because and it's not a bad thing.
Real quick story, and not to take up everybody's time too much on this stuff, but I went to see them Friday night, and the first song, 30 seconds in to the first song, the guitar strap breaks, like right where it hooks in from the strap to the guitar itself. So
the actual bolt fell out?
No, the bolt didn't fall out. The strap broke.
Okay.
And so he's playing, and then he stops long enough to try to reconnect it, but it's broken, so it doesn't work. So he stands up there and he keeps playing the song. I mean, he didn't miss a lick. And then somebody comes up from the audience, because there were like 4 bands playing that night. Somebody came up and had a guitar strap for him, and he's a tall dude. So then they had to adjust the guitar strap so it'll actually fit him. And they got it hooked in. But if you close your eyes and you're just listening, you don't know that he missed a thing. It wasn't like, oh wait, stop everybody, let me fix this. He powered right through it, and it was fun to watch. But local band, they're coming out with some of their own stuff on Spotify. They had a song that dropped there on Friday, and just super nice guys, really talented, great high energy blues rock band. And then the Cold Stares, they're actually a nationally touring band. A lot of times they're touring in support of others. Like they did a tour in Greece with Joe Bonamassa about a month ago, and they've toured with a lot of different bands, but they also tour as a headliner in their own right. And man, the phrase I use on them is they are fierce. They are it is just fantastic blues rock. And so we're going to have an interview with them. Actually, Drew and I are talking with him on Friday, oddly enough.
Yeah.
And so good stuff.
Yeah.
But thank you for asking, and I apologize for taking up so much time with it.
No. Want to make sure people do tune in, because it's a fun show. It's an interesting concept. Trying to mix and getting in not just people in the music industry, but people with a musical distillers. As like in the case of Three Boys, now Whiskey Thief.
Yep.
We have the owner. I can't remember the new owner's name.
Walter Zausch.
Walter knows a lot about music. Hunter, who love Hunter to death, he didn't know shit. But it was funny, and it was funny of it, Walter with the contrast, on there. But
right.
And also they've had Steve Gorman, the former drummer for Black Crowes. Pat and I have been on there, but you don't have to watch all those unless you want to find out more about the Funk Hunters. Then you should check that one out. Then training. Well, yeah. See, Nancy Fraley, she's coming up. What other distillers have you guys had? Oh, Len Eckstein, that was a pretty good one.
Yeah, the Lenny show was really great. And
you haven't had Todd Leopold by himself yet, have you?
Have not yet.
Okay, because that one with him, just the fact that Todd stocked the jukebox at their old place. that in itself, and he had actually told us a lot of the playlists and things that he put on there.
Yeah, he posted the records that were in the jukebox. He posted that on Facebook at one point. So that's get him on there would be pretty cool. Yep.
Do please check out Bourbon Turntable, because it is a lot of fun. And I'm not saying that because they steal my likeness every time.
Every time.
Your check's in the mail.
Every time.
I don't need a check. I got a place to stay in Louisville. It makes up for everything.
There you go.
Always.
So all right, I want to close it, because I don't want to keep you guys at least too much longer, and we try to be very respectful as much as we can. Sometimes we're very disrespectful of shows that come after us, but we do really, really love our friends at Whiskey Crusaders. They're really great people, and if you still want to watch more or hear more stuff, always check them out. They are it's a good group, and hopefully I'd like to get down and meet them sometime and see Matt, who has, I think, the second largest whiskey collection in Texas. Yeah, which that in itself was one thing, but they're very nice people. And Sarah, which we'll always say, Kevin's got in the habit. Drew, I'll have to make sure to get this to you. Sarah is the reason that we have the Maltzilla from Balcones.
Okay.
She was the mule from heaven for that one, and that is a malty, delicious goodness one-off single barrel pick of Balcones that she.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. I'll make sure, and we'll make that appear in your hand somehow, Drew.
Good.
All right, so I do want to leave with at least final thoughts on either a particular John Prine song or something, and memories that it evokes from you. So I'll start with you, Drew.
Goodness gracious, that is so hard. I think that first record, the John Prine from 1971, it's going to have to be Angel from Montgomery. I know that's just the stereotypical one that everyone says, but I think it's just a really special song. The reason it evokes something for me is it was the song that I realized I don't have to know something is true about you to believe you when you say it in a song, if it's that well communicated. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
This guy is talking about a life that he didn't live, and I'm completely sold. And he's painting these pictures that may or may not have been anything he ever experienced, and I'm completely sold. And so, yeah, it's his most popular song, but it's one of my favorites because it made me fall in love with songwriting as a craft. So that's going to have to be the one for me. And then there's about 12 1A, 1B, 1C songs. But if I have to narrow it for one, that would be it for me.
All right. Kevin, what about you?
Again, I'll bookend it. I think Paradise is a fantastic song. I love the rhythm of it, the structure of it, and I think that's a fantastic song. And then I Remember Everything is everything. I mean it because you know where it's coming from, and it you can see you can again as you start to get older, you can start to see where there are little things that you're going to remember that you're going to carry with you, and there are little things that I think about my mom, and there are little things that I remember about her that at the time meant nothing, but now, mean everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautifully said.
Yeah. I have to say that's my song too. I mean, the timing of it and everything was right. And I'll end up getting emotional about it, but that song, it was afterwards, but it reminded me a lot of stuff with my wife, who's now, no longer with us, but she had the bluest eyes, and he, in that song, and also just in how we met too, how he described it. And he said, I remember everything, the things I can't forget. And the way you turned and smiled at me, in your ocean eyes of blue. Mm-hmm. And then he talks about how much he misses her, like the ocean, or like the flowers miss the dew, or the ocean misses the dew. Anyway, it was, it hit horribly hard the first time that I heard it. But I love it. I love it to death. And that's honestly one of the, it's just truly, to me, it's one of the best songs that just written, and it's because it's personal to me. But it's also just a fantastic song, anyway. And if Pat were here, he would probably say, let's talk dirty in Hawaiian. So
seems like a fair guess.
Which is nothing wrong with that at all. Cause it's still a great song. And once again, suck at Jimmy Buffett. I will say, speaking of my wife, we did a thing, because we had 3 kids. We didn't go out that much. We did a Groupon or something to go out to Cheeseburger in Paradise, which was like a 30-minute drive to go out there. But we went because it was like a free burger or some stupid shit. We go out there, we're sitting there, we're listening to it. There's like nobody in this restaurant at all. And we're sitting there talking and listening to it. And the subject came up, and we both were in agreement that, because we're, the people working there, because, you go to theme restaurants, people have to do dumb stuff all the time. But we agreed that the worst thing about working at Cheeseburger in Paradise is that you'd have to listen to nothing but Jimmy Buffett the entire time you're working your shift. The whole time you're working, you'd have to, because they didn't play, like, we were there for like 2 hours, really, because it took a while to get our food, even though there was nobody there. Wow. You didn't hear anything but Jimmy Buffett. And I've heard some Jimmy Buffett that I liked, or my friend has one live album that I'm cool with. But by God, that it was one of the worst things. And we were in agreement 100% that it was one of the worst experiences. Anyway, I'll leave that on a horrible note. But I do want to remind people of what we have coming up. We do have next week. We have our recap show from Bourbon on the Banks, where we will tell some stories and have some good pictures of a good time had by all. Following that, speaking of Bourbon on the Banks, we are going to have an evening with Shannon Hood, who we did get hooked up with at Bourbon on the Banks. And then after that, I'm not sure because I'm debating, or we're debating whether or not there's going to be a show on Halloween. Because, one of us has a really small kid and the other one likes to avoid small kids on Halloween.
But at that point, aren't you done trick-or-treating?
Well, we get a lot of trick-or-treaters, a lot. And my neighbors, many years ago started a thing, people on the corner, I'll bring my fire pit over, we'll all bring food over, and we'll all just have all of our candy over there. Right. So we're really not handing out candy. And it's kind of nice because we just say the bucket's over there and just let them take whatever they want. Because most of them aren't even dressed up anyway. So it's there's no glamour in it whatsoever. We do have coming up, I think November, we're going to do Brandy Month.
Awesome.
I think.
Great.
I don't know if it'll be all of November or it'll be mid-November crossing into December. But we'll be doing Brandy Month with that. And I think Patrick is working on doing some tastings also that not only will we review, but some will have some guest people coming on or some surprise people getting to try some things. He's working that out in his spare time from saving the world or whatever he's doing right now.
When are you guys going to do your, like Whiskey of the Year shows and stuff like that?
That's a really good question. In the past, we've done them after the first of the year.
Okay.
But we'll see. We only have at least for now because we're kind of absent of Ben's schedule, because he hasn't been able to participate and stuff. I don't know how that's going to change or if that's going to change, but I'll say we have two of us to work around instead of three for scheduling for that. So maybe we'll get it done sooner. I don't know. So what about you guys?
We're probably going to be doing, because we do both music award show and a whiskey award show, and that'll probably be early to mid-December.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll get ours figured out. I have my list going already, and it's getting more difficult. I think I don't have a clear standout. Let me take that back. For an overall, yes. For categories, no.
Okay. Because you break it down into various categories. So you're looking at
we do, and we've
Whiskey
gone
of the Year, Bourbon of the Year, Rye of the Year,
right. And that might go further
MGT
this year.
Of the year.
Okay.
We don't go that far, but we are talking about doing corn whiskey.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we might go. We might go further. I don't know. It depends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Best thing to pair with Malort every year. Anything like that?
Yeah. Best Malort of the year.
Hey, we're on the 10-day countdown to Alan Bishop Day.
That's true.
Are we doing anything for that this year, or?
The McRib should be coming back out, right?
Hang on, let me see.
So everyone should be having McRib don't have McRib and Malort. Do something else. McRib was a bad choice.
Yeah, let's. Does it have to be Malort? Can we not just drink like Allen's Absinthe or something?
Again, I don't. My thing with Malort is, which I tell everyone, it's not the taste; it's the aftertaste.
Aftertaste. Yep.
And McRib was just the wrong option because that texture does not break down at all the entire way through your system. And the water treatment place, it stays intact.
All I'm seeing now is late October, because I think that last year when it came out, it had only been out like a couple of days before Alan Bishop Day.
We do, and actually, there's video evidence.
Yes.
You go ahead with your order.
Yes, I'd like a McRib sandwich, please.
Did you want this in the meal or just a sandwich?
The meal.
Okay, and what would that be, medium or large today?
Large.
And what will your drink be?
Do you have Malort?
Who?
Malort?
No, I don't.
Oh, well then Diet Coke, please.
Okay, my Diet Coke machine is down. I do have a Diet Dr. Pepper.
That'd be great.
Okay, you said a large Diet Dr. Pepper. Anything else, sir?
That is all.
Okay, if your order's correct on the screen, sir, your total comes to $7.91 first window.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
You should have asked for Malort ice cream.
Do you have Diet Malort? Okay.
God.
The thing that I want to, and I'll do that again this year, but the thing that I want to know is last year it was $7.91. How much more expensive is a McRib meal going to be this year?
Oh, I'll bet you it's $9.
We're going to play the prices right with the McRib meal. So, yeah.
It'll be
You
fun.
should
We'll have to
do
get a
the
little wager pool.
oh God, what is it called? The guy that climbs, not the Matterhorn. Everything's got a name. I don't remember what it is,
I don't
but
know.
the price climbing guy. But
Yeah.
when he gets to the
Oh,
top, he pukes
yeah.
because he tries the McRib.
Oh,
Yeah.
no fun.
All right. Well, we need
All
to
right.
figure out what the plan is for Alan Bishop Day so that
International Alan Bishop Day.
International Alan. Actually,
Yeah.
Okay, I've got an idea, but okay.
All right.
I'll
We'll
keep
get
that
it figured
myself
out.
now. Yep.
All right. I do want to thank you guys again for coming on. I appreciate it. It's always a good time to spend time with you all on here and people who've endured us not reviewing craft whiskey. But I gotta say, it's a pretty good cocktail. I like it with lime more, but the Handsome Johnny, it's pretty good. And if you want to drink this while you're listening to When I Get to Heaven and smoke a cigarette that's 9 miles long and finally go talk to that pretty girl on the tilt-a-whirl, all those regrets you had in life, go for it. But the cocktail's pretty good.
Yeah.
Those darn good. Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Pretty tasty. Anyway, so yeah, you saw our upcoming shows Wednesday. Which one's coming out this Wednesday with you guys?
Nancy Fraley Part 1.
Nancy Fraley Part 1. Yeah.
Yep.
So there you go. Nancy freaking Fraley.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
She'll be, spoiler alert, she'll be reviewing an Alan Bishop whiskey with Alan Bishop present.
Oh, okay.
So roll the dice on that one,
Which Alan Bishop was present?
Yes.
Okay. I can just hear him as Deathy Rhodes.
Yes.
Thank you, Nancy.
He made an appearance. Yes.
All right.
It, there's a little bit of everything.
Well, there you go.
But thank you, Mike, for having us on.
Yes. Thank you so much.
It's a lot of fun. Always good to hang out with you guys, and I enjoy the crossover shows that we do together. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. I appreciate it, and again, always good time spending time with you guys, and thanking everyone who endured this in the chat, and I hope you guys do go out. If you weren't a fan, I hope you go listen. I hope you go listen to some John Prine, or even expand out and go listen to people that he has signed on his label, Old Boy Records, because there's some really great people on there too. So go check it out. So as Patrick would say, it's not the size of the den, it's the love of the whiskey, but it's also the love of the cocktail and good music and good friends. So I appreciate it. Thank you again, guys, for joining.
Yep. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.